Hello and welcome to another video on YouTube channel of tutorialspedia.com. In this video, I will talk about the basics of SSL Chain of Trust and I will explain what exactly certificate chaining is. And then we will also talk about what is the role of root certificates, intermediate certificates, and the server certificates in this hierarchy for building the trust. Whenever we visit any of the websites or whenever we access some of the services on any servers which is secured with SSL, normally the server is configured with a certificate chain. That means that certificate is there is not a single certificate on the server side. Rather, they have a complete bundle that contains a root certificate and then some n number of intermediate certificates and a leaf certificate or a server certificate. How these all different type of certificates are associated and linked to each other, and how they play a role in overall trust building for SSL based communication, that's what we are going to look in this video tutorial. Before we talk about the technicalities and some of the further details of all these jargons, let's have a basic understanding of the concept from a real life example. Let's suppose that you need some person, a trustworthy person, a reliable person for some specific task, and for that purpose, there is a person who comes on your way and say, "Hey, I'm genuine person. I am fit for this position or whatever task you need. So kindly trust me and assign me this task." So you don't know this person, you don't know about the background of this person, you don't know who this guy is, and your requirement is that you need someone who is trustworthy. It's not about a job, it's not about having an interview with that person, but the important thing for you in this case is the trust factor, and you want to make sure that this person is a trustworthy person. So the obvious question from you will be for that person that, sorry man, you might be right, but unfortunately, I'm not knowing you before. I don't know your background, and in this situation, I cannot trust you. So tell me how I can trust you. Okay, now that person knows that there is a very well known, reputable, and a trustworthy person in the town who is known to everyone, and that person has a credibility. So this person says that, Mr. Adam, a reliable person, he trusts me, and he has given me this reference letter. You can have a look at this. So based on this reference, you should trust me as well. So you look into that letter, you verify and confirm that this is from Mr. Adam. You already know Mr. Adam. Mr. Adam is the most reliable person and a trustworthy man in your town. So you say, okay, Adam is really a trustworthy person in the town. So if he is trusting you and he is giving this letter, then I can trust you as well. There can be another situation where this guy says, Mr. John is trusting me. But you say that, sorry, I don't know Mr. John. How I can trust that Mr. John, even if Mr. John is trusting you, I don't trust Mr. John. So in that case, another letter will be there where Mr. John is being trusted by Mr. Adam, and you already know Mr. Adam and his credibility. So in this way, there is another layer of trust and another layer of understanding in between. So based on that, you finally confirm that since Mr. Adam is confirming that this person is reliable and Mr. Adam himself is reliable, so I trust this guy. So this odd example is just to explain how this chaining works for the SSL based communication. So whenever we talk about SSL, a chain of trust, in that case, Mr. Adam is actually the root CA. Root CA is a certification authority which is trustworthy, which has reputation, and which is being trusted by everyone. So anyone who is having a certificate signed by this root CA is getting automatically he's getting a level of authority, a level of trustworthiness. So in this case, if a root CA is going to sign a certificate, a root CA is going to issue a certificate with its signing, then that is also considered as a trusted certificate. So what happens in case of SSL based communication is that we have a set of root certificate authorities, and when you access any website from your browser, in that case you have a trust store. In your trust store you already have some certificates of CAs stored. So if you visit a website which gives you a certificate which is already issued or signed by a CA which is there in your trust store, then you are automatically going to trust that certificate, and that website will be having a valid secure connection from your browser. But there can be a case where the certificate that has been provided from the server is not directly signed or directly issued by the CA, rather it is issued or signed by an intermediate. So in order to trust that intermediate, you want to make sure that, okay, if the server has a certificate which is not directly issued by a CA, and if it is issued by an intermediate, then that intermediate should have a certificate which is issued or signed by the CA. So this way you want to make sure that this chaining eventually reaches to a CA issued certificate. So if that happens, then this SSL handshake completes, and then verification or confirmation process completes. So in that case, a successful SSL based communication starts. So this is how SSL based communication works. Now let's have a look at this SSL chaining with more technicalities, that how many players are there in total SSL based chaining. So first of all, we have a server certificate. As an example, let's suppose there is a website abc.com. So abc.com, if it's an SSL based website, or if it's secured with SSL, it should have a certificate. It should have its server configured with SSL, and there it will have a certificate for it. So that certificate is called the leaf certificate or the server certificate. But this server certificate needs to be issued or needs to be signed by some certification authority. So in this case, the server certificate is issued and signed by an intermediate CA, and that is intermediate 1 certificate. So we have now two certificates in this chain, a server certificate and then an intermediate certificate. So server certificate is issued by intermediate 1, but there is another intermediate 2. So intermediate 1 certificate is issued by intermediate 2. So now in this chain we have three certificates in total. But in case if we have only these three certificates, and if the client tries to create an SSL based communication connection, that will not be successful because there is no root, and there must be a root certificate as well. So in this case there will be a root certificate from a root CA. So in this case now we have a server certificate, n number of intermediate certificates, and then a root certificate. So once all of these certificates are clubbed together, they make a chain of certificates and make a chain of trust. And in this hierarchy, the server certificate gets validated because it is issued by an intermediate, and intermediate is issued by another intermediate, and that is issued by a root certificate, root CA. So if eventually if root is issuing a certificate and root certificate is already there in the trust store, in that case trust is built and this SSL based communication is successful. Now I will show you with an example, and I will go to a website and I'll show you that how this we can verify this from the certificates of any website which has a certificate issued by root CA. So right now I am at https tipco.com. This is the official website of TIPCO, and in this case if we want to verify the certificates and see how this SSL chaining works for this, we can just click on this lock, and if you click here you can see it says connection is secure. This means that it has valid certificates. Now if you click on this, you can see it says certificate is valid, and here you can see that uh, we get all the details about the certificate. This certificate is issued to www.tipco.com, and it is issued by DG Cert TLS RSA SHA 2562020 CI CA1. Now, this whole detail about the issuer, you can see that this is not the root CA. So in this case, this certificate that has been issued to tipco.com, if this certificate, we use this certificate without the complete chain, we cannot verify it. But if we go to this certification path, you can see that this certificate is issued by this DG Cert TLS RSA SHA 256. And if you view this certificate, you can see that this intermediate is issued by the root. So it is issued to this, and then if you see issued by, it is issued by DG Cert Global Root CA. This DG Cert Global Root CA is the root certification authority. So it means that the intermediate certificate has been issued by the root CA. And in this way, this certificate issued to TIPCO is issued by the intermediate, and the certificate to the intermediate is issued by the root. And we can see the root certificate as well, and this is issued to DGCert Global Root CA, and it's issued by DGCert Global Root CA. So CA is issuing the certificate to itself. So basically, we can see that we have a complete chain of certificates in this case with a single intermediate. Some cases we can have multiple intermediates as well, but overall the chain works like this, that we have a server certificate followed by a number of intermediate certificates and then the root certificate. So this is how you verify and you confirm that the certificate that you are looking into is having a complete chain. And if you're working with the integration platforms, like in case of TIPCO BusinessWorks, or some other integration platforms, and if you are going to have SSL based communication, sometimes you need to import the certificates. So you need to make sure that you are importing the complete chain of certificates. That's something quite common if you are from the integration background. So that's it from this simple and small video, where I tried to explain and share with you the basic concept associated with the SSL chaining. I have already created some other videos on this channel where I have explained about SSL. There's a video about what's difference between one way and mutual SSL. You can look into that as well. And if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, you can write in the comment section. And if you want further information, you can always visit tutorialspedia.com, where I have already added plenty of tutorials for different integration, security, and related technologies. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This channel has plenty of videos on different topics that might be interesting for you. That's it for this from this video. Thank you very much.